At this point, we switch the conversation to Kano State, where in Kano, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf is at the center of a dispute within the New Nigeria People's Party. A faction led by Boniface Aniebonam insists that if he intends to defect to the APC, he must first resign formally from the NNPP. For them, the issue is not just political maneuvering, but adherence to due process. Yet, beneath this procedural debate lie deeper questions about the NNPP itself, its leadership, legitimacy, and the contested influence of Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. Recent court rulings have already reshaped the party's internal dynamics and the rejection of the Kwankwaso movement, amongst a series of other issues. Well, joining me right now to discuss this and more is Dr. Agbo Major, is the national chairman of the NNPP. He joins from Abuja. It's great to have you, sir.
Thanks so much, Dr. for having me. Good evening, viewers.
Good evening. So let me first ask, your party is saying that, look, before the governor can jump ship to another party, must first formally resign from the NNPP. I want to ask you, up to you now, have you gotten any formal notice from Mr. Governor in Kano State?
Well, as at the close of work today, I am yet to hear anything from the state chairman, Senator Jibrin. He is the one that spoke, demanding that the governor must properly resign if he has to leave. As you are aware, we are not happy that we are losing the governor. We are working around the clock to ensure that he does not leave. But in the event that his, quitting becomes inevitable, it is expected that due process must be followed. And that's exactly what the Kano State local chairman of the party is demanding. As you know, every politics is local. I am speaking to you from Abuja. I'm not from Kano. It is the state chairman of Kano, and his entire ESCO that are just demanding that due process be followed. They report to us after they are done with the process. But as of today, I can tell you that we haven't had anything new from there. All we are hearing is still what is flying around on the TV sets, on the newspapers, that the governor is quitting, he's not quitting, and so on and so forth. So we get reports only from the state chairman, and I haven't been briefed on any new development from Kano this evening.
All right, just
like I said, it is just procedural that we pray he doesn't leave, but if he has to leave, he has to follow due process to depart.
All right. Just yesterday on this program, we had Ladipo Johnson, of course, a member of your party, and of course, part of the Kwankwaso team, who made some remarks on this channel. Do take a listen to some of the things that were said. All right. Of course, while we are trying to get that material up, let me ask you, we know that there was supposed to be a protest at the INEC office, but it was cancelled last minute. Why is that?
In politics, you have to gauge the mood of the people, and you also have to be sure that some of the directives you are giving as leaders, are directives that are not in disagreement with directives that are not meant to trigger any form of confusion, any form of unrest. You gauge the mood of the nation. What actually happened was that we called for that protest. As you are aware, we have repeatedly been denied, uploading, despite the two subsisting court judgments, the one from Abba and the one from the FCT. And at a point, we were thinking that probably INEC would need to register as a member of NNPP. And if they wouldn't do that, it means they have to begin to do things that will suggest that they're actually independent arbiter and they are independent practically. Having demanded for that before now, we went beyond that to say, okay, if you won't do it properly and then as swiftly as it should be done, then one instrument that is very useful and unavoidable in a democratic setting is the power of protest, peaceful protest. So we looked at it and said, okay, that could be an option just to let the world know that this is what INEC is doing to the party, trying to destroy it by all means, So we actually planned the protest, but a last-minute security report was what made us to call it off. It's not completely cancelled. What we did was just to call it off because of the security reports we got that Kwankwaso and his Kwankwasia movement were also planning a counter-protest. These are people who have long been expelled from our party, and we know them for their penchant for anarchy and all of that. And so we were told that they were also mobilizing people from across all the states to also meet our people along the way. And we looked at it that we shouldn't be a vessel for them to be able to perpetrate their illegality in form of violence and all of that. And so we said, okay, for now, the mood of the nation, as well as their preparedness to also meet our people along the way to cause mayhem, was not going to be good for the stability of our nation. Was not going to be good for, so those were the things that, formed the basis of our consideration that made us to temporarily shelve the idea of holding a protest.
All right, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll definitely pick up. Stay with us, we'll be right back. I still have Dr. Agbo Major. It's the national chairman of the NNPP as guest at this time. Dr. Major, it's still great to have you. Now, before we wrap up, I'd like you to react to this recent conversation we had on this program just yesterday.
We've been on your program several times. There are people who are with Dr. Boniface Aniebonam, who was one of the founders of the party. Unfortunately, as you well know, over the past year and a bit more, the issues that happened, they were suspended and then expelled. They went to court, they've been to court on several occasions, and the courts have upheld the fact that they were expelled and that the court of the Federal High Court, Lagos, Abuja, as per Honorable Justice Wite, actually listed names and said they were no longer members of the party. Now, they haven't appealed that judgment, so the judgment is still subsistent. So I think the crux of it was that there was a matter that they filed in Abba High Court that we were not aware of which they probably fictitious things, that the party hadn't held meetings, things happened, and that the court should turn over the control of the party to a board of trustees headed by Dr. Aniebonam. This the court did. Now, when we approached the courts, they were there. We came after we heard about it. And the court set that ruling aside because...
Well, he was making reference to the legal hurdles and crossfires that is happening within your party. I would like you in 30 seconds to react to this, sir.
Well, if you had given me an idea, if you had told me that I was coming here to react to what Johnson, who is known for, what do I call it, for his inconsistencies, has said, I wouldn't have honored this invitation. But then, since I'm already here, let me just quickly say that I do not have any reasons to join issues with Barrister Ladipo Johnson. He says he's a barrister. Unfortunately, he does not seem to understand the workings of the law. The court judgment is what he's describing as what? I can't even understand what he was trying to say there. The Abia court judgment is subsisting. Johnson is economical with the truth. Johnson is saying that the judgment was set aside. Johnson has not told you that the matter is even at the appellate level in Owerri. Why is he not saying that? Why is he saying that the judgment that had been passed by a competent court or with a competent jurisdiction has been set aside? I think that's recklessness on air. Like I said, I don't join issues with people like that because I know him for what he is. I know him exactly for the way he behaves on air. But what I can tell you is that the Abia High Court judgment is still firm, is still in place, and it is there subsisting. Nobody has been able to do any small damage at all to that judgment.
All right.
So,
all right. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Agbo Major. We just needed to put that, clear the air for Nigerians who are following
I thought
the
you would
politics.
also, I thought you would also
within the
let me
NNPP.
say through how, in the course of trying to get to quash the Abia judgment, how they have
Well, I'm sure we'll bring up this in future conversations. But thank you so much for your time on the program this evening, Dr. Agbo Major, the national chairman of the NNPP, joining virtually from Abuja. Once again, thank you, sir. All right, this, of course, is where we wrap it up tonight. In case you missed out, you can catch up on our YouTube platform. That's at News Central TV. You can also choose to follow us on social media. The handle is there on your screen. You can choose to follow me personally at Dakbo at Digboye. Until I come your way tomorrow, up next is Tonight.